Hey everybody, it's the Last Robocar here, and I'm joined by Cool Guy.
Dude to bandits.
Yeah, we aren't going to be doing any of the missions today. We are going to be seeing a little bit of a tutorial today, but today we're actually just going to be talking about what this game has for us in terms of what we can do in the world map. And it will actually also give us a chance to talk about a few mechanics that we haven't really had a chance to talk about as well. I'm just accessing our storehouse at the moment, because I just wanted to show all that gear you picked up in excess of what you have, but also all the stuff you picked up in the Tower of London is there. So if you do want to get that stuff and, you know, turn it in for experience or sell it for money or dismantle it for ingredients, you can totally do that. So in this particular case, I'm just going to, move everything out. There is actually a button, there we go, now I finally found it, that you can press. It just move all that shit straight into my regular inventory. I'm going to make use of it. Yep, give me all the stones, give me all them bastard swords. Okay! Yeah, and everything else is just excess stuff. I've only got one elixir in excess. But here it is, the Blacksmith!
Anyone who messes with her answers to me. Tomei owns.
Tomei is our blacksmith, and I'm going to actually go through and just show a few things off and also talk to her so she can explain a lot of stuff about what you can do in this game. She has a regular stock of items she's got special finds which will change every mission, and you'll get like rare stuff that you can get. You want to be looking at that because you want to be spending money because you can gain favor with Tomei by doing it, and also by speaking to her as well. And you can use that to unlock more things like a bar. You can unlock discounts on different functions and things like that. This isn't the Blacksmith in its final form. The Blacksmith still has way more to show us, but this is it for now. So what we're going to be talking about here is forging is something that you will want to do later on. It's not so important now, but the big deal about forging is that a lot of the requirements, statistical requirements of gear that's forged is less than what you find out there. So if you ever find a piece of gear that's like just out of your range, you can't wear it because you don't have the stats. If you'd forged it, you could. So a big part of the end game of this game is building your gear if you can, because some gear can only be built once you find a recipe, and recipes are not a very common drop for certain things. So we're already getting into very complicated territory. The other thing that's very important is that you can actually, if you find a trait that's inheritable in a weapon that you really like and it will be marked as such, you can transfer it to another weapon if you want to start using a stronger weapon. And you can also combine weapons to make them stronger. One feature that I didn't talk about it because there were so many things to talk about in this game is familiarity. All of the weapons that you use will build familiarity. Reaching familiarity milestones also gives you proficiency points, but when you max out your familiarity with a weapon, it will actually boost its stats. And every time you sort of reforge a weapon, it will lose that familiarity, but when you build it up again, it will become stronger for it.
And this is fun. This is fundamentally why I say Tomei owns is because all of the things that you wanted to be you thought you would be really cool to be able to do in Dark Souls, Tomei lets you do. Like she is just an absolute jack of all trades that goes through, and she allows you to do all of the things that you wanted to do, you know, in these other games. Hey, it would really be cool if I could get a gun that does this. Hey, it would be really cool if I could just get like a couple fewer encumbrance points on this bit of armor so I can remain unencumbered. Oh, hey, I'll just talk to frickin' Tomei.
Yeah, and as you can see, there are different classes of things you can get, and disassembling weapons will give you different stuff. You can forge the lower quality stuff together to make better quality stuff. We've seen the Torii Gate in the streams for multiplayer, so we won't be really looking at that too much. There's the demos. Here's the way of the ninja. We're going to jump into that straight now. This is actually how we're going to get our backstab, and it's also going to teach us how you actually use the ninjutsu stuff in this game, and in a way it will also teach us how magic works as well, because it uses the same sort of system. Because ninjutsu doesn't just unlock like the ability to do a backstab, the ability to carry more elixirs, ninjutsu also unlocks the ability to essentially have weapons that you can use continually that are regenerated at shrines or through the use of particular items. In the case of ninjutsu, shinobi boxes. So there are, of course, hair locks for magic and for ninjutsu as well. And in this particular way, we use it, we will unlock some ninja points for ourselves, and we are going to use that then to equip ourselves with special ninjutsu items. So we're already sort of going into a territory, like, being a ninja is an entirely viable playing style.
Also
so we're going to, for this
fun.
tutorial, we already have a few things unlocked. We're going to unlock the makibishi, the typical caltrops. We're going to unlock some shuriken, or rather, we already had shuriken. We've unlocked the ability to throw shuriken more rapidly, which is kind of nice. As you can see, the ninjutsu screen is incredibly robust. There's a lot more stuff in there than there are in the other like in the weapon skill trees. So Nioh magic and ninjutsu are very viable paths to go down if you should so choose. You will get more points either from hair or from raising your dexterity. Here's how you equip them. You go to Ready Jutsu. You've only got a limited amount of jutsu that you can equip, because otherwise it would be probably a little too broken, I guess. You can get more space through using your skill trees and everything like that. And you equip them into the shortcuts, as you can see. And there you have it. These are your ninjutsu abilities. They will regenerate every single time you go to a shrine or use a shinobi box. The caltrops, as I'll call them because I cannot continually pronounce that, they will slow people, so their general movement will be slower. I threw a flashbang, which yeah, I just violently killed that guy. Don't worry about it. His arm came off.
I'm sure he's actually fun. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that was just training. We all have wooden swords. I decapitated someone once.
I think I did that on stream at one point.
Yeah, good old wooden sword. So that is the game. The game has a tutorial for ninjutsu, for Nioh magic, and actually also has one for regular being a sword fighter, which is kind of weird. Because at this point, it's like, if you haven't figured out how to do that shit, like, that's kind of wild. Like, the point at where it actually introduces you to that is kind of crazy. It still gives you
samurai skill points. It's still worthwhile.
Yeah. So, the gear that we just acquired was shinobi stuff, but as you can see, all of its benefits were grayed out. Like, that was, blink and you'll miss it. I did go through it very quickly. But they're all grayed out, and essentially what that means is that, yeah, you can wear them, but you won't get any of those bonuses from it because your stats aren't high enough. If they were a forged piece of gear, if, say, we ever actually got a recipe that allowed us to forge shinobi gear, which I believe can happen, yeah, you can do that. You can see now that there are a few things that wouldn't have been available before, because they say requires cleared mission, the way of the ninja novice. There's a few that still have a question mark because that particular mission hasn't actually appeared yet. So now we have the sneak attack, which is fantastic. The sneak attack also goes into scrolls that let you move without making a noise, so you can essentially just run up and chain backstab people. There are scrolls that make you run faster. Sacred Water isn't a thing that we've gone into, just drinking that boosts your ki regenerate. Here's an ability that if you don't equip a weapon, you can do a parry counter that catches the weapon out of your enemy's hands and attacks them with it. We won't be doing that because just because there are so many things to spend points on. I was like, okay, maybe if I do a reroll or something. Here's another thing. Achieving certain feats in the game. If you remember badass points from Borderlands 2, where, like, doing certain things will get you points that you can use to give yourself, like, minor statistical advantages, that's what this is, but it doesn't carry over, like, across all characters that you play as. It only carries over on this particular character. And I generally try and boost things that increase my healing rate, things like that. The last thing we've got to show off, I think it's the last thing, is the Thought Amrita, because we pick up a lot of things from picking up Amrita. We pick up tutorials. We picked up a lot of tutorials, and so they're here. Feel free to pause and look through all of this if you'd like to. There's just so much to this game. And I feel like I am going to continually miss stuff, so this is really handy. This is actually really helping. It also does give you a bit of lore as well. such as the idea that the Tower of London, if all of the ravens leave the tower, it'll apparently, like, the entirety of London will be destroyed. Also, all the yokai that we encounter will get entries, and defeating more of them will give you more information about them. And you can also switch to another thing that will tell you just how much you've damaged them, how much they've damaged you, what their weaknesses are. We've only really got 3 entries because we've only encountered 3.
See? I told you it was Yoki.
Yeah, and the Yoki, you can change to show the different kinds of Yoki. So we've got the 3 kinds. We had the baseline normal one, and we had the ninja one, and then we've got these guys who are kind of like the weaker ones, because they've only got 1 horn and they suck ass. We'll see some of those later. And of course, Onryoki. And it does give you the pronunciation for it too, which I really quite like. Defeating these bosses multiple times will grant you more information about them for filling out your information log if you prefer. We also have one for the Guardian Spirits, so our fire dog is Kato. And there's nothing particularly, and of course, Siisha, which is freedom in Gaelic. She's pretty cool. She's great. She'll be fantastic if we ever actually rescue her.
Yeah, I mean she's sort of away from us for right now.
And here is William wearing the Youngblood armor set. The game basically decides that the Youngblood armor set is his canonical armor set, which is fine. We will see the Youngblood later. And doing more specific missions and fighting specific enemies at specific points in times. Yes, Derek has more lore to unlock, ladies and gentlemen. Derek is full of lore.
It helps that he was actually real.
Yeah, and here's Edward Kelly. He has a guardian spirit. It's called Ouroboros. And here's Tome's full name, Senshi Tome. And she is actually blind in one eye because a spark flew into her eye. I didn't show the last one because that's cutscenes.